Welcome to the Private Practice Survival Guide podcast with your host, Brandon Seigel. I'm a published author, speaker, entrepreneur, and private practice strategist dedicated to transforming the way that healthcare functions. This podcast is all about empowering you to create the change you want to see. Let's dive in. Welcome back. In this episode, we're talking about one of my favorite things. Drum roll, please. You got it. Mailbox money, how to optimize your growth in a diversified way. I think this is so important. And one of the things we forget is we get so stuck in just seeing ourselves as medical practitioners that we forget there are ways that we can help people beyond the scope of what insurance coverage looks like, payer sources, vendors, etc. And I think in order to really create change in healthcare, we have to attack what health and wellness looks like through multiple lenses. That comes from, obviously, we've got services. Then we've got lifestyle redefinition. Like, how are we redefining the way that lifestyle looks for people? Then we've got education. How are we learning and applying knowledge into changing habits in everyday life? And then we have resources and products. So there's all these different ways that you can help your public. You don't even know it. Like, you're just literally so stuck in a muck where every day you're like, I'm going to come in, I'm going to see my patients, I'm going to, bill my units, I'm going to work on my procedure codes and document and go home. And at the end of the day, you're like, yep, I did my job. I created some clinical outcomes, but you're limiting yourself. You're not just limiting yourself, but you're limiting your clients. And before I move forward, I'm going to define what I call mailbox money in a moment, but I'm going to give a shout out to one of the coaches out there that I absolutely love, adore, and this person is changing the way we define mailbox money. His name is Greg Todd. Greg Todd's a physical therapist who recognized early on that care delivery was not enough to change the world. And now he's actually built a whole system to help private practice owners, functional medicine doctors, neurologists, you name it, any health, wellness professional in healthcare can change the trajectory of how they support their demographic and helping them diversify into this mailbox money. Now, I want to be clear. Mailbox money, it's not taking away from what you're already doing. It's an additional diversification. You're not just diversifying your income, but you're diversifying the way that you create change on behalf of your patients. So let's dive into how do we define what mailbox money is. And mailbox money is it's a term many of us throw around, but I don't know if it would come up as a definition. So what I give you as my definition is what this means to me. Other people may have different versions of it. So for me, the idea of mailbox money is, imagine if you could set it, forget it, and get paid for it. What could you create and what could continue to generate revenue without the exact same direct input? So the opposite of mailbox money is, in order for me to get paid as a doctor, I have to be doing an examination. I have to be doing a treatment. I have to be doing something that my time is the byproduct of the money. But now if I take that doctor and I say, hey, let's create mailbox money. And the doctor says, okay, how do I do this? And let's just say, for the sake of this example, we're going to talk about functional medicine. If you're a functional medicine physician, you may have different products, different subscriptions, different education, different resources. But let's take the simplest of byproduct. You're working with someone and you say, hey, you're getting sick a lot, and I've got 5 supplements that can change your life. And you say, these are the 5 supplements. Give me 30 days. If you don't see the following progress, I'll give you your money back. If you see the progress that you're looking for, then I want to sign you up on my subscription. And here's what you're going to get. You're going to sign up. It's going to be a monthly program. We're going to deliver to your home 5 different supplements based on the progress. We're going to be measuring blood tests every 3 to 6 months to see how your body is doing. And we're going to also drop education videos related to what you're trying to overcome in terms of reducing inflammation, etc. And so you're going to get all of this for $499 a month. That includes the supplements, the education, everything. Now you set that, and you still could have check-in visits that you bill for and other things, but the byproduct is that money becomes a reoccurring. And yes, you could say, well, Brandon, we have the expense of the product and it doesn't mean that you don't have expenses. What I'm trying to do is create revenue that's not directly correlated to just time. At a certain point, we run out of time. So how do we expand and diversify revenue so that we're not just selling time? And so when we're talking about Mailbox money, I want to talk about passive income generated from some form of an asset, product, or system that continues to produce revenue with minimal ongoing labor once it is set up. And notice that I use the word minimal. The idea of minimal is like, yes, you're going to ship stuff and all that, but when I'm talking about minimal labor, we're reducing your labor directly correlated to that revenue. It's called Mailbox money because it feels like you're receiving regular checks in the mail without active work each time. For small business owners, such as healthcare practice owners, it involves creating and investing in assets, digital products, royalties, automated online services, dividend-paying investments, etc. And even something like this, okay, are you ready? For Hanukkah, okay, we're talking about my holiday, Hanukkah, I wanted to get my son something that would be the gift that keeps on giving. So my son's an avid baseball player, loves baseball, and I got him this thing called a plate crate. You ready for this? Now, you could do this with anything. You've seen this with Kiwi boxes and all that. But basically, I signed up for a plate crate, and every other month he gets a surprise for 12 months. And they've created it in a way where they curate it, they ship it out. It's got messaging, it's got, a video thing, it's got clothes, it's got all these different things. But the beautiful thing is it's really a set it and forget it subscription for them. And I don't understand why we're not doing this more. And so what are aspects of need from your demographic? What are they already paying for? How could you simplify it? What are things, whether it's TheraBands or it's exercise or it's activities or it's, even as we look at what's going on with remote monitoring and stuff, what are different ways that you could generate revenue in a compliant and sustainable way that is more than just selling labor for money? So that's the concept of Mailbox money. And so as we look at some of the ways we want to diversify your revenue, a couple things I want to remind you of. First is, have you looked at creating a digital product or an online course? And I know you're like, Brandon, everyone and their mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother has their own digital product or online course. Well, they have their own podcast too, and guess what? It works. So my viewpoint is, sometimes we get so stuck in being afraid of what's already out there than saying, I can do what's already out there and I can do it better. Capitalize on the market, the opportunity. Do you have a message? What does that message look like? One of the things that I like is when we can tie learning and products together. And that's where I say, what is that plate crate for you? What is that opportunity where you say, here's 5 supplements that you get shipped. Here's 5 foods. If you're a nutritionist or a dietitian, what if you had 5 snacks that you highlight that are specific snacks that every month they get different 5 snacks and they get a month long of each snack that they implement into their diet? Again, I know you're just selling products, but you're creating a subscription of turn it, set it, forget it, and maybe there's education built in. And again, you're most likely keystoning or greater that price. So all of a sudden, okay, the products cost $6 a bag and you have 4 bags and that's $24. You might get $50 worth of value when you factor that in with some form of learning opportunity, video, etc. Here's another example. And this is something that I've been part of with other clients is, what if you were able to lease unused practice space and generate rev share based on space utilization that overlaps with clients? This is just a diversification. You might be like, well, that's not mailbox money. Well, the idea of mailbox money, again, is passive income. So my question to you is there a world where you could get greater revenue per square foot through either a sublet or a rev share relationship? So let's put this into context. If you're a doctor's office, and let's say that you're averaging $150 per square foot per day, I'm just showing that as revenue. What if you were able to, and that's not really actually $150, because guess what we need to really look at is what is the net value left over per hour for that rev share. So let's just say that you're averaging, whatever it is, that $10,000 net profit per day on that. If that's truly 10,000, could you get above that in different ways? Could you rev share with people? Are there people with greater margins that could come into your space, and through rev share, you would actually make more because you don't have the labor cost? Just something to think about. Another idea is to create an Amazon store, curate existing products that your clients are already in need of. And just so you know, there are people that will build you your Amazon store. But if you're like, here are 50 things that everyone needs, just say, go to my Amazon store. I pride myself on the most competitive market. Make it happen. Like, that's literally mailbox money. That could be tools, resources, books, you name it. So another thing that I like to implement, I kind of alluded to it, but I want to build more on it, is this idea of, we created our digital Amazon store, but then what do we have in our actual facility? People love to spend. People love to shop. They are impulse buyers. So what if we were to sell products that are aligned and require repeat orders? So that idea of, hey, I love that product. I love that honey. I liked that tea that you sell. I like that vitamin, that supplement. There's many different ways for you to implement products, resources, tools, different things that someone needs. Even something like, this sounds weird, but a functional medicine doctor has to understand their public and what are the things that they want. Maybe they want natural toothpaste. Maybe they want natural deodorant. What are everyday items that you could get that are unique? And what if you allowed them to purchase them and pick them up, but you also allowed them to get a discount if they signed up for a monthly subscription, the same way that you would on Amazon? The other thing I want to talk to you about is, for some of you that are a little bit like, Brandon, like, this just seems like a lot. Am I cataloging this product? What does that look like? For those who are not using FullScript, this is one of the best tools if you want to sell supplements. They streamline sales. You get to build the subscription through them. You're not purchasing anything up front, and you're just getting margin on the supplements. So what you want to do is you want to have enough in your office for them to physically take that. And once they sign up, then you set them on a subscription with FullScripts, and FullScripts is shipping it directly to them. So the benefit of this is that it's literally no labor for you. And my question to you is, what if you got, and I'm just going to throw a number out there, $3 for every bottle of vitamin C you sold? And again, most people aren't buying vitamin C, they're buying other stuff. But all of a sudden, let's just say you sold 100 bottles of vitamins every month. Still $300 of net profit. See, I think we forget what net profit really is. Sometimes we're getting dollars and cents. We're like, Brandon, I got $10,000. I go, you got nothing. You spent $12,000 to get $10,000. You're actually paid $2,000 for that $10,000. So understanding that idea, and sometimes we can create different resources, and the littlest of change can sometimes make the biggest impact. And what I have found is sometimes I see the biggest movement in my needle with the change at scale for something as small as 30 cents. So I do 100,000 changes of 30 cents, and that makes a huge impact. At scale, little things can make a huge impact. And then obviously, let's develop those products. Let's get our kit of existing products. Let's work. We can partner, we can white label, lots of different ways, but stop getting stuck in your day-to-day routine. I want you to take on the valence of your patient. I want you to think about what is something that I could buy right now, right here, etc. How could that change? Maybe that's an app with a subscription that you like. Maybe that's a tool. Maybe that's a learning, whatever that may be. So like I look at it and I'm like, hey, what are things, small things? There's little things. It could be as simple of like, hey, I would love 5 exercises that get push notified to me every morning that walk me through what I should do to stretch, move, and expand my body. So if someone said to me, hey, Brandon, like, we're going to give you customized stretches. We're going to give it to you through us. We're going to have a relationship. We're going to do all these things. It's not telehealth. It's a subscription, but we're going to push you to hold you to accountable. And our goal right now is to get you to do this activity 3 times a week. And for 3 times a week, we're going to do that per month. And it's a $99 membership. And this is what it looks like. This is what it feels like. This is how you're going to get that confidence when you're doing exercise and strategy and you're not able to get into the gym. It's going to be something you can literally do in your car. I'd sign up. I would. Especially if it's helping me feel better. If I can see that difference. And again, what if $99 a month saved you? I'm just throwing it out there, like years of your life. Literally something as simple as that. And I bring this up because we always use money as the barrier. The issue is not money. The issue is prioritization. So I bring it up because this morning I wake up, and for those who don't know, I love my dogs. I got golden retrievers. I love my dogs. I got Goldie and Archie, and they are my 2 babies, being honest. My kids are my babies too, but my dogs are my dogs. And I got this notice. What's ironic, dogs are different ages. My oldest dog has different pet insurance than my youngest dog. But I have pet insurance out of fear because somewhere along the line, it's like, what if I would never want to not do something they need because they mean that much to me? And if I look at it, I've been blessed. I'm like, the best blessing I can have is to pay the premium and never have to use the insurance. That's my blessing, okay? And today, I got an increase to the premium for this year. And I'm not exaggerating. It was a $19 increase. The benefit doesn't change, $19 per month, okay? $19 per month increase out of the blue. I've had this insurance now for 5 years, never used it the whole bit. But then I thought about it. I'm like, okay, when I look at how much I'm spending, probably spend just under $1,000 a year now. That's what the new premium is going to be. But I'm like, if I spend $1,000 a year and I never use it, I feel good. I'd rather that happen. And at this point, like, that little change is worth that quality of confidence, comfort, etc. What are little things that you can do that build confidence and value at things where someone says $19 extra a month? Like, you got it, Brandon. No worries. Because what is the prioritization that you bring to the table? So the reason why so many practice owners fail at this thing called diversification, first and foremost, they approach it from what they feel a client clinically needs versus what a client's buying history is. So it's like, hey, Brandon, I'm going to sell you a back brace. You're like, you need it clinically. You're not stable. And they're like, so I'm going to sell this to you because you really need it. I'm like, I will never wear that back brace. I'm sorry. I will not wear it. You got to come up with a different buying pattern. There's a difference when something is durable medical equipment and when something is recommended for better posture, comfort, whatever. You see my posture. It sucks. I know it. You know it. Before I got on this podcast, my mother said, don't forget your posture. Sorry, Mom. I failed at that. One of those areas I'm not good at. But my point is, what are the things that I would buy? I would buy different stretching stuff. I would buy different lifestyle stuff. Maybe I buy a shirt that has extra support, but a back brace, that ain't happening. And I bring this up to you only because we're always looking through the lens of what a doctor feels is best versus what a client values as best. For the past 20 years, I've had the privilege of helping pediatric occupational, physical, and speech therapists redefine the way that their business functions and helping them tap into their entrepreneurial spirit. In recent years, I recognized a deficit, which was bringing private practice owners together with the vision of allowing them to connect, learn, and grow. And Growth Code Conference was born. From sunrise to sunset, we offer an opportunity for pediatric, occupational, physical, speech therapy private practice leaders and owners to connect, collaborate, learn, grow from yoga to breakfast to lunch to coffee carts and more. We take you to another world where you are inspired, where you feel empowered, and where you are able to grow to the next level so that we all can change the world one child at a time. It doesn't matter at the end of the day what the doctor feels is best if the client doesn't value it at the same rate. The other thing is they make excuses for clients. And I say this all the time. Sometimes we try to sell stuff we don't believe in. I was just having a dinner last night and I was talking to a colleague, and I said, I can't sell something I don't believe. And every year I'm meeting new vendors to promote at my conference. Obviously, there's times where I want to promote people on my podcast. And it's not about, I want to be clear, when I endorse something or someone, it's not about, oh my God, they must be paying them a lot of money. No, sometimes they don't pay me anything. Even if you offered, so it's so funny, there was this company, he said, if I offered you $100,000 right now, would you promote this company? I said, if you offered me $1 million, I wouldn't promote this company. So I say it in the sense that sometimes there are people, companies that you got to believe in what you do. So when you try to sell something that you don't believe in, you better be willing to buy it before you sell it. And so even when I pick my sponsors, you're like, well, Brandon just uses sponsors that he utilizes in his day-to-day business. I'm like, duh. Why would I try and sell you something I'm not willing to pay for? Stop making excuses for clients. Start looking at what they're going to benefit, where their buying is, etc. And my point is this: oh, they can't afford it. Da, da, da. Well, you just gave them a reason out. So if I go to you and I say, hey, you need this software, you need it. And again, I'm coming in clinically, let's say. Well, then I'm like, hey, where are the pain points? What's going on? Well, I can't get this done. I go, what if we could get this done in 30 days? Well, then give me 30 days. And my point is, put your money where your mouth is. Give guarantees. Give an opportunity in your diversification strategy where you're building confidence through buy-in with them. The other issue that I see is that you create an Amazon store and you curate existing products that your clientele are not in need of, and you're not marketing it right. So we need to make sure that we're putting together all of these different things that you're actually surveying, you're actually, researching, you're looking outside the box, because we make excuses. We don't always value what we sell. We are afraid that they're going to stop doing something that they're already doing with us. And sometimes what we do is we say this, well, they already have their budget. And if I take money out of their existing budget, they're not going to spend on me. They have $100 a week, Brandon. Every penny. I go, you're not realizing what I'm asking. What I am asking you to do is to find something they need that they already have an existing budget for, that they're spending on something that's less effective, and transfer that budget to something that benefits you on a diversification standpoint, and that they can get a win-win. So, example, you already shampoo your hair. You already pay $28 for that shampoo. I've got a better shampoo. It's going to better your hair. It's $22. You're saving money. Buy it through me. And it's a win-win. And I know it's a weird thing, but it really, we overthink things. We like to make excuses why something won't work. And I think it's because we're so programmed in that clinical mindset that we've sometimes lost the idea of to innovate the value of what can help above and beyond. Now, one of the things I like to bring up when I talk about mailbox money I have not built a product. So I am the first to tell you, I have not hit this out of the park yet. If you have an idea, I'd love to build a product one day. See, I love to sell products. I'm not there at building it yet. But what I recognize when I look at products out there, it's the stupid, simple things that win. And it's how it's presented and packaged. So I'll give you one example. I remember a couple years ago, my kids went nuts over this thing called the Nugget. I don't know if you've seen the Nugget. It was like literally the Hanukkah present of the year. Both kids wanted them. And it's foam blocks. They've been around since the beginning of time. Someone just came up with a good way to make it fun for children. And you know what they did? They created videos with all the ways that you can transform these nuggets, which are foam blocks, into sofas, couches, chairs, slides, everything. They took something that existed and they added a fun video on how to make it exciting for a child. So that's the first thing. The second stupid simple that I want to share is there was this company. So one of the reasons why I love Shark Tank is that Shark Tank makes you feel stupid because they invest in things that you're like, oh my God, they just invested $1 million. Why? So there was this thing, and I was one of those idiots that bought it. And that's why I make fun of myself. Are you ready? So as a father, I'm always looking for ways for my children to be more competitive in their hobbies and activities. And one day I was watching Shark Tank and I saw Shark Tank for me is kind of like the home shopping network. It literally is like, okay, what do I want to buy tomorrow? Like we used to watch the home shopping network. I remember my grandmother used to buy everything on that. And every time when that home shopping network store opened at the mall, it was like my grandmother's favorite thing. Well, now Shark Tank is like my home shopping network. So all of a sudden, this little boy comes on stage and he's like 7 years old or whatever. And he came up supposedly with the glove wrap. I don't know if you remember the glove wrap a couple years ago, but I was like, oh my God. And again, this is where stupid Brandon was like, oh, that's so cool. I got to get it for Jonah. I'm an idiot. Okay. It's a $20 TheraBand that wraps your glove to break it in. Back in the day when I played baseball, we literally used a belt with a ball, some oil, and we tugged it tight and stuffed it under our mattress. That's how I used to break in my mitt. But somewhere along the line, I saw this quote unquote infomercial on Shark Tank. And I'm like, oh, this little boy did it. And do you know why I bought it? Did I buy it because of the little boy? No. I bought it because it's somehow, somewhere, they got all these Major League Baseball players endorsing glove wrap. Oh my God, it's the best way to break in the glove. I was so enamored by this story that I didn't even recognize. They had $19,000 in lifetime sales when they went on Shark Tank. 19,000, that's it. They got a $227,000 valuation because of that. Their current valuation's unknown, but Mark Cuban and Michael Rubin literally gave this plastic wrap a $227,000 valuation based on $19,000 of sales. Crazy. And so what I am saying to you, whether you like it or not, is part of Mailbox Money is creating the demand, the story, the, oh my God, that's cool. Let's try it. Let's make it happen, etc. How do we streamline joy, ease of use, and bettering the patient when they're right in front of us? If you're a pediatrician, what if you had puzzles that they could get a new puzzle on every month that helped them with their cognitive development? What are ways that we get in front of our public? Because here's the deal. If our pediatrician says, these are my 5 favorite Every month, I've got favorite toys, games, and things that I want kids in the ages of 5 to 7 to get. You can sign up for my subscription. I'll give you different ways of why I recommended it. They're going to sign up for it. But see, the problem is the pediatrician's so focused on just well visits and getting the kids, they're losing sight on opportunities to diversify their income. And so, do I think it was the quality of product that made glove wrap worthy? No, because you know what? Yes, I used it for my son's glove and I broke it in and it was fine. Did it do anything special? No. But when I got my new glove, did I use it? No. I went back to Brandon old school. I whipped out the belt. I took my glove oil, I tied it up straight, and I threw it under my mattress. And it's as broken in as I want it. So I think their success was a recalibration with the right endorsements. They took a common problem, they added a simple solution, and they got endorsements with a story that was this little boy wanted to break in his mitt so he could play baseball. That's what tugged at our heart. And so they identified the common problem, they recognized a business algorithm, they found out how to solve it, they illustrated proof of concept, they attracted and executed authority endorsements. Now, in some cases, you are the authority endorsement. Then they fundraised with the goal to scale, shaping public opinion and adding marketing and PR to take it to the finish line. So great opportunities. And I just think that you can think outside the box. And so another way that we can recalibrate and diversify our offering is exploring services that others already budget for in some capacity. And that could be, whether it's personal training, massage, nutrition, stretching. Now, some of this is labor driven, but it's not your labor driven. Recreational sports, school-based physical ed support, corporate retreats, wellness, baseball lessons, softball, golf training, all those things. What are your clients, your patients already doing? And how do we build and embrace that resource? And again, that could be courses, home programs, app creation, lots of ways to do it, but I just want you to dial it in. And if you don't know what that is, and again, I am not getting anything for promoting this. He doesn't even know that I'm promoting this, but I truly love this person so much. Greg Todd can help you find what your mailbox money is. So I give him a shout out only because I believe in what he does. I buy what he does. I have him speak at my conferences, and I've seen him make more 7-figure entrepreneurs on mailbox money than anyone else in the healthcare industry. So as we look at things, we need to innovate, and innovation can occur both in our service offering and our partnerships. So there was actually a client that I worked with, and this commercial real estate had basically the building had too many vacancies, and it was in downtown New York, Manhattan, New York. And the commercial building said to this company, which was a physical therapy and Pilates and all that, they're like, hey, we need more tenants. Do you have any ideas? And he said, what if you built a wellness center that all of your tenants got exclusive access to, and we'll run it and we'll do an exchange? And sure enough, they built this whole thing, and they were able to solve 2 problems. They filled up the building, and they've got hyperbaric chambers, they've got spinning bikes, they've got exercise, water, massage, therapy, you name it. And at the end of the day, there's so many different ways to do this. So as an example for health and wellness professionals out there, here are some offers that you may think about that are not necessarily tied to labor and time. Ozone therapy, ozone steam sauna, peptide therapies, enhanced external counterpulsation, chelation therapy, hyperbaric oxygen therapy, PEMF machines, ultraviolet blood radiation therapy, allergy elimination, Kangen water, and so much more. There's a lot. And this is the thing. The health and wellness market right now, from 2023 to 2033, is supposed to increase literally over $4 billion. The amount of money is incredible in this space. And so even looking outside the box, like what Hinge Health has done and how they've diversified. And so there's a lot of different options, a lot of different opportunities. And I'm going to give one quick case study because I think it's helpful just for the math. So Dr. Jennifer Thompson was a family physician based in mid-sized urban areas. She ran a practice where 80% of her patients were covered by Medicaid. While her practice was stable, low reimbursement rates, high administrative burdens, she was able to expand her services and invest in her practice. 2022, she decided to diversify her revenue by introducing non-clinical services. That included digital courses, vitamin sales, alternative modalities that were not part of the medical model. And she was able, so Medicaid reimbursements were around $40 to $60 a visit. She had only so much time. Her patients had limited disposable income. And so making traditional cash pay services like concierge care was unfeasible. The other thing she had to be in mind was Medicaid regulations. So when she implemented this, she actually created a digital course. She was able to price this course at $149. She was able to do some vitamin sales and was getting between $20 to $40 a bottle, even though the public, because these were things they were already getting some kind of assistance with. She was also able to implement some alternative modalities. And once she launched that digital course, the investment she spent was $12,000. That's how much she spent. $5,000 on the digital course. It was $3,000 in vitamins, $2,000 initially in alternative modalities. So she put out $10,000 essentially to test this model. She trained the front desk. She had them promoting everything ethically. She was utilizing an e-commerce plugin called WooCommerce. That cost her minimal money. And at the end of the day, by the Q4 of 2024, she sold 200 enrollments, making close to $30,000. And she gave up discounts specifically for her Medicaid. So $30,000 not from Medicaid, and she made an additional $19,000 from Medicaid patients. Vitamin sales produced $12,000 of net profit. Alternative modalities was $8,000 of net profit. And her total new net profit was close to $50,000 a year from this. So she was able to hire additional nurses to help and drive more support to the Medicaid public and actually take less margin on that because of that $50,000 offset and helped her in other ways. So it is something that is scalable. You know, some of the things you got to look at is the initial social media ads, low ROI, what that cost is, regulatory navigation, and obviously patient trust, because you don't want them to think like you're just upselling. But by leveraging her credibility, creating outcomes, testing the market in a small way, she was able to build a solution that her patients appreciated and was able to generate a product. Did you know in 2025, TBR's survey of private practices show that 70% of those adding ancillary services like subscription-based wellness programs reported a 15% increase in reoccurring revenue? In the words of Warren Buffett, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Private Practice Survival Guide podcast. Don't forget to like us, subscribe, share us, because together we can thrive, not just survive. Thank you for tuning in to the Private Practice Survival Guide podcast. I'm incredibly grateful to each and every one of you. Exciting news. We're now available everywhere, from Spotify to Apple Podcasts to YouTube or anywhere you like to listen to your podcasts. So watch, listen, and reach out. If you love this episode, please drop a 5-star review. It truly means the world to me. Are you looking for more ways to elevate your practice? If so, now is your chance. Reach out, go to my website, or email me at brandon@wellnessworksmp.com. And remember, it's not just about surviving, it's about thriving.